How's it going, everybody? Welcome to week 5 here, coming right along in the semester. And it's also our first quiz. So, first quiz of the semester as well this week. So, again, it's, my quizzes. Maybe I'll just start there. There's a quiz review guide. Please take a look at that. And the quiz itself, it can be available to take from 8 a.m. on Friday up until 11:55 p.m. So anytime during Friday. You have an hour and 15 minutes. But do note for this first quiz anyway, that it'll just flag, if you go over an hour and 15 minutes, it'll just flag your time so you can extend after that. So don't panic if you're running out. I know it's the first quiz. When I explain sort of the sections, the fourth section there, the 5 Ws, maybe it takes a little more time. So if you a few minutes over, or 10 minutes over, that's fine. Please don't feel you need to take 3 hours on this quiz as well. Find something in the middle there. I think it'll go pretty quick. It's on Lamaku. Look at the review guide there. Those are the list of terms you're responsible for being familiar with. My quizzes are all open note, so you can use anything from the course materials to help you in answering these questions. And then the first sections are geography, so maps. Take a look at maps. Section 2 is fill in the blank. There'll be blanks you can cut and paste and put the term in the appropriate definition. 3 is matching, pretty straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, short definitions. A, B, C, D, E. Match the terms there. So should be straightforward. I do want to reiterate that Lamaku is going to automatically mark those. If you entered something, particularly in the fill in the blank, and it's correct, but Lamaku's just marking is wrong, don't worry about it. I'll go back. I got to read the 5 Ws and evaluate those myself, so I'll go back and fix those. And also, when you get your score, until I go back and do the 5 Ws, it's going to give 35 out of 50. Again, don't panic about that. That last 15 points are the 5 Ws, and so for those, right, there's 3 questions. You'll have 5 terms. Amongst those 5, you pick 3, answer 1 each. I gave you even the rubric, the who, what, where, when, why. I gave an example on the review guide of many's that, who, king of Egypt, when, 3,100 BCE, what, a pharaoh, where, Egypt, right? So those things can be kind of succinct. Just those are sort of the technical points. Let me know you kind of have the context of who this is and where they're at. And then what I really want you to be working on is why. Why are these significant to world history, right? And be able to explain that in your own words using the course materials. Within there, when I talk about minis, all the things in the bold, I think you use Pharaoh, Old, Middle, New Kingdoms, Nubia, right? Those are all terms on the review guide. I want you to use at least one term from the review guide in your explanation, your why explanation. So, and you can bold that term, let me know that's the one you're using. Again, the idea is that you're using course materials, and you can use any course materials you want. Open note, all the PowerPoints, all the readings, anything you want, you can have on there. Just don't use a bunch of outside stuff. If it's information we haven't covered in the class, I'm just going to assume that's like AI stuff or off the internet and just give you a 0 and move on. So this is a time for you to kind of explain why you think these terms, explain in your own words how you're kind of putting this all together, and then why this term is significant to world history. So that's it with quiz 1. If you have any questions, let me know. The last point there is that everyone has assigned review terms. I know Monday was kind of a weird day. It kind of threw off everyone's schedule. So if you're a little bit behind on those, I'll sort of extend that, a rough one, into Thursday. But everyone has review terms, assigned review terms, at least 3 of them. Scroll down. I have some examples there I gave some examples of. They don't have to be anything extensive. Maybe three sentences. Just kind of the who, what, where, when. Who is it? What is this term? Explain it. And again, you can use that review guide on your quiz as well to help you out there. And I'll go through and kind of make some comments on them on Thursday myself. I think that's it for the quiz. If you have any questions, let me know. I also looked over your artifact Padlets. I uploaded that. It's in the student resources. So the student announcements. So there's a few there. The Lunar New Year's festival next week. Study abroad. Another reminder of the UH Common Scholarship that you should all be applying for. Great. Um, yeah, I think that's all the announcements. And then the Padlet is underneath there as well. With the artifacts on there. Good job. A lot of really interesting artifacts that people put up. I commented on your assignments. There were some people didn't have their name on it. There were a couple Padlets that didn't have a name. So if you've turned it in, but you didn't get a grade or comments from me, it's probably just not the name there. So let me know if that's yours. So this artifacts was there. Feel free to take a look at that Padlet as well. Yeah, and then this week we're just kind of finishing up Americas, Oceania. So the Americas, how people came, different migration patterns over land, and then also, as I explained in the lecture, this coastal migration theory, that this new idea that different peoples came in different modes to settling the Americas, and how this new evidence helps us rethink history. And then where settlement patterns, where people went, North America, Central America, with these sort of larger states, intensive agriculture with corn and the three sisters, corns, beans, and squash. Big cities, Teotihuacan, I gave a video of there. I also gave like a really technical article about the central Mount Verde, Chile. So if you are into STEM or interested in science, the science behind it, how these arguments are made, that's kind of, sort of, it's very technical. I don't expect you, it's very, scholarly, but it just kind of shows you like the difference of, when you say these are where arguments are, this is the type of evidence people use when making these arguments. So kind of sort of the scholastic side of things, a little different than, your Wikipedias or a website there. Yeah. And then, yeah, I think that's good. There's a little video of Teotihuacan, so you can see the city there. And then the other one, Oceania, where there was, the people couldn't come by land; they had to come by sea. And these early peoples are Austronesians, similar to the Indo-Europeans. They're a language group that spread all the way from Hawaii or Rapa Nui, Aotearoa, all the way into Madagascar. So there, as we said with linguistics, we can kind of extrapolate from Indo-European. There's grammatic, syntactic patterns to their languages, a lot of cognates. I gave the example of va'a, the canoe, right? There's a lot of other, the word for water, vai, is also very common in many of these languages. Numbers as well. Yeah. And then, I also talked about how people came by voyaging canoe, gave an example of Hokulea. I mean, that was laid out in this traditional style. And then the plants they brought with them, right? They came in and kind of terraformed these worlds that they entered, these islands, brought their own plants, things they used, animals, things, people they brought in their canoe with them as well, different, all those things. So, yeah, I think that's kind of it. Oh, Lapita is the last of this one big group of people that shared a lot of connections. The Lapita groups, voyaging, and stories and all of that. So I think that's it. I think that's all the announcements I have. So if you have any questions in the quiz, let me know.